All right. Hey, everyone. This is Laurie Hammer. Welcome to another episode of Take Back My Brain. I am here again with Ashley Courtney, and we're going to dive into Ashley is a licensed mental health counselor. She does EMDR. And if you didn't hear her big podcast with me talking about EMDR, go back and listen to this. But I want to get into Ashley's story because she and I started working together probably just a little over 3 months ago. And
March. Yep.
it was on a personal basis for Ashley. And so I want you to kind of tell everybody like what was going on with you and kind of how you came to me.
Yes. So, Lori you were kind of like my last resort on the list of like, I
Uh-huh.
don't know what else to do. And thank goodness I got directed to you. It was like the last 2 years. I just was experiencing so many like physical symptoms, but like also like I know what anxiety is. I've had that pretty much my whole life. Like I know what it feels like, but I was experiencing like way more anxiety than I had. Like just think like it was getting in the way of some things, like way more than it had before. So there was just a lot going on. I mean, I think when I brought my page to you, it was
It was
like
really
I had filled in like outside of the answers, like the whole
yes,
pages. So,
yes.
that's like how I got to you.
Hmm.
I think through like maybe my chiropractor was like, hey, I think some
Yep.
blood work would be good. Maybe there's some food sensitivity stuff going on, things like that. I had kind of been through like I had so many appointments the last 2 years, like, x-rays, like scopes, like all this stuff, and everything was always fine, but I was clearly not feeling fine.
You were not
Um,
feeling fine.
no,
Yes. Yeah.
no.
So
So that's
tell us what was going on, like in your chest and the
yeah.
palpitations,
So
because you're experiencing anxiety, but it was really bringing on a lot of physical
yeah,
symptoms. And you have tools. You're a counselor.
yes,
You do
yeah.
EMDR. You know how to deal with
So
this.
I was doing all the
There was
tools. I was
something more,
doing
right?
right. I was doing all the things. And it was really frustrating because everything was always fine. So they would tell me, or like most of the time it was kind of like, this is anxiety, like work on what you need to work on. And I kept being like, but I'm doing all of those things and this doesn't feel like that. So it was like honestly, like I mean, I've never had a heart attack before, so I don't
Mhm.
know what that feels like, but I thought many times like that was happening to me like the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I would have like squeezing in my chest, like just like rushes of like hot and cold in my body, chest tightness, like so breathing was just weird. I like literally can't even remember all the things because they're acid reflux. So they thought it
Right.
was acid reflux, but then that kind of like all came out like
Right.
actually I put on medicine for it. It didn't do anything. Then I got taken off of it and it was like nothing made anything better.
Right.
Lots of just like um yeah, I can't even remember some of the things now because we've done so many
You've
things.
done so
I
much,
just
right?
remember the chest stuff was like becoming to the point where like I didn't want to go anywhere or do anything because I was always worried of having like I thought there was a medical like emergency happening a lot of the times when I would
Right.
start feeling this
And
stuff.
you'd been to the ER a few times, and
Yes, like two different times, like because of the chest stuff, and just lots of things. Yeah, it just would be like these really like intense, like like what you think of like a panic attack, but then like almost it was just kind of consistent all the time. It would just get
right.
really, really worse or not. And yeah, just a lot of things going on. Yeah.
Yeah. So in your first appointment with me,
Mhm.
we tested some amino acids on you, right? And
Yes.
so what happened when we did that?
So that reminded me of like another thing that was happening was like my body was literally becoming so like it was like shrunken, like tight and hard, like everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think if there was acid reflux, it was more because of that than anything else, like just my
Right.
stomach, everything being so tight. So I remember when you gave me the first amino acid, L-tryptophan,
Hmm.
and so we put it under my tongue, and then you said just kind of see what that feels like. And I remember sitting there and being like, nothing, nothing. And then like all of a sudden it's like everything just untightened like for the
Right.
first time. And it was almost like there's no way like that had to have been just like a placebo effect. There is no way that just happened.
Right.
Yeah.
But it did. It
It
did.
did.
And I remember you saying that you hadn't felt a release in your chest in at least two
Mm.
years. Like
No, that whole time that all
that
that stuff
inner
was going
tremor
on.
was always there.
Yeah.
And and then it was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Yeah.
and then I remember like it stayed away, like,
Mhm.
and I kept taking them and it stayed away and I kept being like, I can't believe that this like has helped.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
you ran out and you're like, okay, it really does work.
Yes. Cause then I was like, I think it's starting to come back a little
Yeah.
bit. And then as I've worked with you longer, it's interesting because I actually know when I'm having those feelings. And then I go take, I just take, I kind of, it's like, I took it very consistently for quite a while. Now it's like as needed, like maybe a couple of times a month I'll notice it.
Right.
And it does, I start having those feelings, I'll have it and then it's gone.
Right. So that's the cool thing about amino acid therapy is you just I don't know what just happened. You my computer made a weird sound. But amino acid therapy is that you don't have to use it all the time. So once we rebuild the brain and we rebuild that neural pathway, and your neurotransmitters are happy and making their own, then you just use it as needed. So there's always stress in our life, right? And so you just use it as a tool, like you're saying, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing to be able to do. So it's
Mhm.
not like a medication where you're going to have to be on it forever and ever and ever. And, you just
Mhm.
don't have to be. Yeah.
And then we remember when then I came back to you and I mean I was feeling like calm and stuff, but there was still like some like things going on. And then we added the second one, which when I have both of them, I have a very like grounded, like calm, centered, like there's a strong feeling that I
Yeah.
have. So it's very calm, but also not like not worried or like feeling like I don't know how to explain it. It really helped even adding that second one in. It made a big difference. And we had tested like a lot of them and then
Mhm.
that none of the other ones really seemed to do a whole lot of anything, but those two for me were like key.
Yeah. It was
Mhm.
L-tryptophan and tyrosine. Yeah.
Yes. Yep, it
Yeah.
was
So
that
you
one.
said you felt like stronger, sharper, alert.
Yes.
Your
Yes, that was
weakness
it.
was gone. Yeah. You felt weak.
Yes.
You felt like your weakness had gone away, but you still felt relaxed. So it was just that really good ground
Yes.
feeling, which is
Yep.
beautiful. And that's
Yep,
what
that
we're
was
going
it.
for, right? That's what we're going for with amino acids, is that you feel strong, grounded, and you just don't feel you don't feel woozy, you don't feel
Mm,
scared anymore. You just want to be relaxed, but
right.
focused. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. And I think a lot of us just don't realize like how good you could feel, right? Because it wasn't like, you've worked on yourself for many, many years and
Yeah.
mental health is not an issue for you, but here's this issue
Mhm.
that and it was just because you were depleted, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think, that has kind of opened my mind quite a bit to like just even in when I'm working with people, it's not like, I've with kids, I've always been very cautious about referring out for medicine
Mhm.
too, unless that's a last resort anyways. But even more so now with just anybody, I really want to make sure that they're doing whatever they can do to get some things checked out to make sure that they're not deficient in certain things or that kind of stuff before just adding a medication in,
Right.
which can actually make things very complicated when you're not sure if now is the medicine helping, has it made something else
Right.
going on, and it gets very complicated. And so this was like a really big piece that I now kind of carry into my work with my clients as well.
Yeah, because medication can just mask things and then you're not going
Mhm.
to be able to process what you need to process.
Mhm.
And so the goal with amino acid therapy and everything else I do is to fix those deficiencies so that your brain can work well. And everything below the neck gets a lot easier to work with. So
Yeah.
we started working, with your gut, doing
Yeah.
some gut healing. Then we did a lot of blood work and we did
Yeah.
a Dutch test. So
Yep.
we tested your hormones and how your cortisol is made and all those kind of things. And we found out, where some of those hiccups are for you, which I
Yes.
think is beautiful. So then we could support those pathways. And so then your menstrual cycle gets better and your sleep gets
All
better
the
and
things.
your
Yes.
muscles get better. And so can you speak to any of that?
Yes, so I feel like you said a minute ago, like I think I didn't feel how bad I didn't know how bad I was feeling.
Or how good
Um,
you could feel, right?
yeah, like it along the way somewhere, it just like even like the cycle stuff you talked about, like it is nowhere. I mean, like I would have like back pain so bad that I was like getting almost sick, like throwing up,
Mhm.
like thinking like I have like something seriously wrong, like endometriosis or like something, I'm Googling
Right.
everything. You know me, like
You know,
I
Google,
it's not
Dr.
that.
Google, yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Ashley, it's okay.
Yeah. And so I was doing all those things and then once I think we started the supplements and stuff, like like I don't even notice like what week is what, or like it's not, there's not, those things don't happen anymore.
Right.
So yeah, it's been amazing.
Yeah, because your back pain was really bad. Really
Yeah,
bad.
like I was like wanting to have, I wanted to have x-rays done. Like it
Yeah,
was so bad that like I couldn't, I literally was like almost, I did throw up once from it. And
right.
then like I would have to just lay down for like however many days it was like that on a heating pad, and it wouldn't even help. Um yeah, so I couldn't do things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Talk about your ear thing because it's just sort of like a
Ah,
random thing that you were dealing with. But
so weird.
I know,
Yes.
but we figured it out. So I
So
want you to share
yes. So, and that was like super concerning when that happened. And it was right around the time we had just got all the test stuff back.
that.
We
Mhm.
jumped right into like the treatment plan. We were like, and so it was like a few days after that. I mean, I think I had a little bit of sinusy stuff going on. But then all of a sudden, I started being dizzy. I think
Mhm.
that's what I started being very dizzy, and like my eyesight was like a little bit off, like sometimes when I was looking at my screen. And this went on for like I've never been dizzy before. So it
Right.
like really kind of freaked me out. So I remember I kept messaging you. I'm like I took those pills today. I'm
Yeah.
like dizzy. Like, is this normal? And you're like, no, like that's not like how this should feel. And
Right.
it doesn't at all, because now that we figured it out and I've been
Figured it
on
out.
my treatment stuff, it's nothing like that. But long story short, then I did end up going into the doctor, because I was just like, I don't know what's going on. And I think I saw you like in a few days too.
Mhm.
And so they said I had a lot of fluid in my ears. So then we knew it was like an ear thing. We were gonna do prednisone and Sudafed.
Yep.
And so I kind of started that, but then like didn't fully do it, and it just nothing really helped with it.
Mhm.
Then I started seeing, and then I came to you and we started doing the like your
We
like little
started working
machine
on the
stuff.
lymph. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes.
if you have lymph, you have fluid stuck in your ears, that means your lymph going to your ears down your neck is stuck.
Mhm.
And you had had some lymph issues from a melanoma diagnosis, right? And so they had removed some lymph nodes. And so of course, when that happens, there's compromise in your lymph system. And so we started working on your lymph system. I helped you to work on some things with some tools I have, taught you how to do some
Yes.
manual work at home, and then your
Yeah.
liquid went away and you didn't have to be on the medications.
Yes. So I think after the first time I saw you, it had been happening for like almost maybe like a week and a half, 2 weeks, where
Yeah,
every day I was like dizzy, like not feeling good, all this stuff. And then the day after I left you, I started having like the crackle pop stuff going
yeah,
on. So
yep.
I knew something was moving and changing in there from there. And then it just took a while. And so we
Yep.
just kept doing what we were doing. I kept doing like the exercise stuff you taught me. And then it was like maybe like a week or two after that, you had me get adjusted as well. So I went to see Becca, and then like I could tell that everything like one day everything just started kind of like draining. And so I haven't had any dizziness, like any of that stuff since. I still like Becca, like chiropractor, she looked in there, she said it's, you can still tell that it's in there a little bit, but we're still working with it and going in the right direction for sure. But
And the
that
point
was
with
the
that
whole
is
thing.
sometimes it just takes a while for those
Mhm,
things to clear up, right? And
mhm.
so you're not going to be able to take prednisone wasn't going to dry it up, right? It just
Right.
help with some inflammation. But if you're stuck in that pathway,
Yeah,
your
that
lymph,
wasn't,
like that's not going to help at all. And
no,
so you need
no.
to know how to move your lymph and stuff correctly, which
Yeah.
when you know that, then it stopped the anxiety
Then
that
you
you're
give you
having over
something
it.
to do. Yes. Yes, for sure. That was like, because I mean, yeah, I had quite a few appointments for that too. And it's like,
Yeah.
we're always like, well, if it wasn't for Lori, what would you have been doing? I'm like, I don't know. It would have been getting worse.
Right, right. So you
Yeah.
worked with me for a good 90 days. I mean, we're still working together now, but what would you tell people in that first 90 days, like your experience and then, where you feel like you
Yeah. Because
ended
I'm
up
just
after 90
finishing.
days?
I'm just like at my 90 days. I know initially it's like, oh my gosh, like this is a lot of money. This is a lot of stuff to go into. Like
A
I
lot of
didn't
time, a lot of
like,
things to
yeah,
do. Yeah,
I didn't want to just like jump in I mean, I didn't know you yet. I didn't want to just be like, I'm gonna do everything this person says and like
yeah,
not like, I just, so but what was interesting was like like Lori, you are so like educated, and I mean, you're just so knowledgeable in everything that we've ever talked about. So like, you're not just saying, here, take these. You
Mhm.
have like literally explained to me almost everything about my body, what it's doing, like as I bring up like the concerns. And so for me, it's like, that makes complete sense. So yes, I'm on board 100% like with this, because this is what this is going to do for me. So it's like gaining that knowledge from you and that understanding,
Mhm.
and that seeing that as like, I mean, like before I started seeing you, like just how scary that it was to feel like that all the time, to
Right.
like, now I don't have, I mean, some of the lymph stuff we're still working on, but I don't have the other things that were like really, really concerning. Like,
Right.
so it's absolutely like worth it.
Right. Right. You don't have those glaring neon signs going off anymore.
No, no,
I love
no.
it. Well, it's been a pleasure working with you because
Yes.
you do actually are doing what I'm recommending. So that's super helpful.
Yes.
Because you want to get better, and those are the people that I love. I love working with. So thank you very much.
Well,
And
thank you.
I appreciate you sharing your story because we just want to give people hope and know that there are other options out there for
Yeah.
anxiety, depression, for, ear flu,
Yes.
whatever it might be.
All the things.
Menstrual
Yes.
cycles, I mean, because that all plays a role into all of this, especially,
Yeah.
as women, we really want to make sure that we don't have to live with all of these things,
Yeah.
that there is a better way, and you don't know how good you could actually feel until you start feeling so much better.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. 100%. Yeah. And it's just that kind of hope, that hope piece, like what you're talking about, like there is like, there's more out there that you can do than just like, if like going to the doctor or medicine, like things like that, because that's, once those things didn't work and everything was fine, that's when it got really like I was like, well, this is never going to get better. And that was horrible.
Right.
So yeah. So having that hope back has been huge for sure.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Ashley, for sharing your story. I appreciate it. I know my audience does too, and I'm looking forward to continuing working with you.
Yeah. Thanks, Lori.
Thanks.